And then about 6 years later, they arrive on a system called Alpha Centauri.
106.
Huh? Oh yeah, 100. Oh yeah, you're right. Not 6 years, it's 150. So it takes them a while. Cold Beet Soup is a podcast for casual fans who want to explore lore and fandom rabbit holes in music and gaming.
And are sad sometimes.
So today's episode, we're gonna pivot to gaming.
Yay!
There's the reason why I brought up Starfield in the last episode is they had a trailer come out for the DLC, and that made me curious about the whole universe, and that's what sparked this presentation. So we can pull it up.
Start it?
Yeah.
Alright, let's see. Which one was it? This one?
I think so.
It is this
Whoa.
one. And then we do.
Wow. Yay. I found this template online.
It's so beautiful.
Thank
It
you.
reminds me of space.
Yeah, it was I think a professor used it because the template had like your organization and topics and stuff. But so title slide, Starfield lore. Second slide for audio listeners is just a picture of Bethesda's logo. This game was released by Bethesda. They're known for probably most recently Skyrim. They've done Fallout 3. They've done Wolfenstein. They rebooted Doom. They did the newer Doom game. So they've done.
Did they?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in like the 2000s, I want to say.
Okay.
So they've done a lot of stuff, but when they announced Starfield, they said it's the first new universe they've made in almost 30 years, which is not a lie.
Really?
Imagine if they lied.
Wait, when did... Oh, wait, so... Whoa, I thought Fallout came out.
So Fallout did come out. However, they bought Fallout.
Oh.
So they purchased Fallout. Fallout 1 and 2 already existed. They picked
Okay.
up the development of Fallout 3. So they didn't actually create a new universe with Fallout 3, although people argue it's deviated so much from the first two games that it could be its own thing, but they still bought the IP.
Okay.
So that's kind of the deciding factor. The only real, like, the universe that they created was Elder Scrolls. Elder Scrolls Arena came out in 1994.
Damn.
And then they had Morrowind, Oblivion, and Skyrim as the most, like,
You weren't even born, were you?
No, I wasn't. Back in mind, we had Elder Scrolls Arena. So, and Skyrim people still play today.
Oh, yeah,
like,
yeah.
heavily modded and everything.
I tried. And I was like, oh.
Yeah, I love that game. But anyways, so yeah, this was their first new universe in over 25 years, almost 30 years. And next slide is just a picture of the Starfield cover art. It's set 300 years in the future. So humanity, they have left Earth. Earth is no more, and now they live among the stars. So since our universe is so big and people can settle in so many different places, Bethesda made the focus on one particular place. It's called the Settled Systems, and it's actually in the Milky Way. It's about 50 light years from our original solar system, and it's kind of cool because in the game you can visit our solar system.
Oh, cool.
So it's called Sol, and you have all the planets. Mars was actually the first colony that they made.
Of course.
So you can visit Mars, like I think it's called Cydonia, I think is what it's called. I visited Pluto because I was like, I want to check it out. So you can like land on Pluto and hang out.
Nice.
So it's cool. Yeah, it's pretty cool. And with all of that, humanity is expanding its reaches, so there's like different factions and colonies, and the kind of the way I'm going to go about this presentation is I don't want to spoil the main story too much in case if somebody will eventually want to play. I just want to cover the timeline of Starfield, which they released officially. I'm going to go to the next slide and it's going to show their timeline. It's kind of stretched on this, but it's fine. If you guys want to look, it's on this particular timeline I found on Reddit. Someone combined all the images together, so it's one long timeline. It spans about 280 years before you, as a player, come into the game. Um, there's a lot of, for those that are watching visually, there's a lot of bullet points here. I am not going to go over every single one. I just brought it here for my reference to know like what years things happen. I was just going to do like a highlight reel,
Mm.
the important stuff. The others are like details if you want to really get into the nitty gritty. So as I mentioned, humans first arrived on Mars, so that's starting 2050. And then about 6 years later, they arrive on a system called Alpha Centauri.
106.
Huh? Oh yeah, 100. Oh yeah, shit, you're right. Not 6 years, it's 150. So it takes them a while to go a bit further, and a couple years after that, they established the United Colonies, which are that's like the first governing body, governing interstellar body. Um, 1 year after that, because now they have a government. Government needs a capital, so they make
Mm.
the capital called New Atlantis, and it's their first official capital, which is interesting because the bullet point says 2160, but then when you read the bullet point, it says 2161. So within that year, they established that capital city.
Dang.
And then about 7 years later, there's a different system, not too far. It's called Cheyenne. This pioneer guy is named Solomon Coe. He settles there. He creates the first settlement. It's called Aquila City. Um, and a little while after that, he invites this other planetary system, whoever's living over there, to join in an alliance. And they agree, and then they make the Free Star Collective. So now you have the United Colonies and the Free Star Collective. These are like the two main governing bodies in space. Now, when you have multiple governments, chances are they're going to fight over something.
Yep.
And sure enough, less than a decade later, um, also from now, I want to, instead of saying United Colonies, I'm going to say UC because it's just easier to say and the game references it that way.
Okay.
That way it's just faster. I'm a government employee, so I'm like, give me all the acronyms. I'll do the acronyms. So, 2194, the UC has a star station. They decide to put it around orbit around this random planet in the Nerion system. The Nerion system is just some random planet, like some system they found, whatever.
Okay.
It doesn't belong to anyone, it just exists. Now, the people living there, just minding their business, are like, dude, what the fuck? We don't want you here. Please leave.
Mm.
The UC's like, no,
Nah.
we're gonna stay.
Yeah.
And then the people of the Nerion system are like, well, that's messed up. Hey, Freestar Collective, we want to join you. Freestar's like, okay, well, now you're invading the space, so we're gonna mobilize. And then like within a couple years, Freestar's mobilized. The UC's like, all right, well, guess we're fighting now, and that's how the Nerion War started. So they have their first war. It lasts about 2196 to 2216. So what's that? 20 years, 20ish years, right? Is that my math, or is it 30 years?
21 what?
2196 to 2216. That's 20 years, right? It lasts a while.
Yeah.
It lasts
Math.
a while.
Math is hard.
I'm not good at math, so I apologize. Finally, they make a treaty. Now they're chill. They're like, all right, we have a treaty, and this is where the term settled systems comes to be. I believe this is where they kind of like establish their borders, kind of like, you know, throughout the history of our Earth, there's been border disputes all the
Mhm.
time. So
Yep.
that's kind of like the first border dispute is like, okay, this is your area, this is our area, cool. A couple years later, the Freestar Collective creates the Freestar Rangers, which is I kind of see them as like their military because they protect. They're like a protective force for the Freestar Collective, and in the game they're kind of like cowboys.
Okay.
Like when you visit Aquila City, it's kind of Western.
Okay.
It gives you Western vibes. So now, the next thing that happens years later, Constellation is formed. Now, Constellation, they're not a governing body, they're just like a group of explorers. So you could, I guess, they'd be considered a faction in the game. Um, and they just want to explore space and find cool shit. So in this bullet point, it like lists a bunch of people. We don't really care who they are. It's just
Mm.
that a bunch of different people came together to make this group to just explore space in the unknown. That's it. Uh, then after that, because that's like 2275, 2307, the next trouble happens. So the Freestar Collective starts. Did I forget something? I did forget something. Why is there. Sorry, guys. I'm having a bit of a seizure here. 2275. Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, sorry, guys. Because I had a feeling I was like, before the war, I need to mention something. And I actually needed to mention something before Constellation. And that's what bothered me. So, just backtracking a little bit. Sorry, y'all. Um, Between 2221 and 2275, something happens. It's not mentioned in the timeline, but I think it's interesting, and I found this on the Starfield wiki. So there is actually a third governing body that has not yet been mentioned in this. They're called House Varun,
Mm.
and they are isolationist theocracy that worships a deity called the Great Serpent. They're a little special. So how they came to be, this was back in 2190. There was a colony ship that left New Atlantis, and it just disappeared. So one of the passengers that was on this ship, his name was Janan Varun. He claimed that he talked to a celestial being known as the Great Serpent and was told to prepare for an eventual encircling or shrouding of the universe by the serpent.
Ooh.
So, what happened after that? Kind of fuzzy, but all of a sudden, 2230, House Faroon just kind of pops up out of nowhere as like a fully foreign government, and Janan is the like leader prophet,
Mm.
and they make contact with like the UC and Freestar, being like, "Hey man, we're just here to vibe, but like we just want to spread our religion. That's it. We're just chilling." And then like 10 years later, they just start a war with everyone. So they just
Oh,
like they start a war. It's
nice.
called the Serpent's Crusade. But they like no one is safe. They attack the UC. They attack Freestar. Any like people that are independent, just hanging out. No one was safe. This war lasted 23 years. And the only way that it stopped was Janan died. And then his son took over, Jarek Varun, and his son like he's like, "Oh, let's have peace. Like let's stop this." So they found peace, and then House Varun actually built an embassy at New Atlantis. So now they're like represented, and they're trying to just kind of rebuild their reputation with everyone else because everyone sees them as like crazy people that
Mm.
just like attacked out of nowhere. Um, so I wanted to bring that up before the next thing because the next thing is the next war. Yay! The next war is it starts with Freestar actually this time. So Freestar they start farming on the planet of Vesta in the Lunara system. So again, some like random ass planet. And then by the next year, the UC's like, "Whoa, you're trying to start a new colony. You're breaking our treaty. That's not cool." And then they try to have like diplomatic talks,
Mm.
but it doesn't work out. And then it a war starts. So UC actually like lays siege, kills everyone.
Oh, nice.
They kill it's not funny. It's just kind of wild that just they're just like screw you and kill everyone. And the colony war started. As the colony war is happening, Constellation comes into possession of something known as an artifact. It's their first one, and they put it in their archives. I'm mentioning this because I will reference it later. This is like separate from the war. They find some shit, tuck it away, and whatever. The next year, the colony war has one final battle, the Battle of Cheyenne. with both like civilian ships and military ships. And the Freestar wins. They do like hit and run tactics on the UC, and they're done. Now they also do. They make an armistice, and which is just a fancy way of saying a truce. They
Mm.
just sign a truce, and then in this armistice, House Varoon signs on as like a neutral third party. Weirdly enough, after House Varoon signs this treaty and is like, "Yeah, we exist," they just like disappear. They all just dip out, except like in the game, all that's left is the ambassador.
Mm.
So he's just hanging out at the embassy. Supposedly, there's like spies around, and then there's the Varoon zealots who are basically they're just heretics. So they practice their religion, but they're doing it wrong. So like the Varoon are like, yeah, we don't associate with them. They're cray cray. And you get to play like you get to fight them in the game. Like sometimes if you go to some planet, you see the zealots, and they're just like, the great serpent will be upon you before you like shoot him down.
Is
So
this who you wanted to be?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I'll get to that later.
Okay.
Well, I was like, they're crazy. I want to join. Because so far you can't join them. So
Mm.
far, asterisk. I'll mention that later. But yeah, so they sign the treaty. House Varun just like peace, dips out. A couple years later, the UC Vanguard forms. So now you have the Freestar Rangers. UC's like, damn, they whooped our asses with like civilian ships. We should make our own little like military thing with those
Mm.
civilian ships, and if people pledge to us, then they can be citizens. So that's kind of how they did that. Um, so that came to be, and then for the rest of this, um, the bottom ones are just like NPCs that would join Constellation, NPCs that you interact with. So I'm not going to highlight them, but if anyone that's visually watching wants to learn, you can. The only thing I wanted to mention on this last slide is that 4 years before the game starts, one of the NPCs that we get to interact with in the game, his name is Barrett. He's
Mm.
just a part of Constellation. He finds the original artifact in the archives, and he's like, this looks like something interesting. And then 4 years later, Starfield starts. Um, you come in as a player, you're like mining on some planet, and you see an artifact in the ore, and you like mine it and you touch it, and like weird sci-fi shit happens, and then Constellation somehow knows that you did that, and I think it's because oh yeah, the artifacts like talk to each other.
Oh.
It's like weird sci-fi shit, right? So they're like, hey, you should join us, and that's one of the few things in the game like it's not optional. You have to join Constellation.
Mm.
So you just say yeah, I will, and then of course, like other Bethesda games, you can go and like explore planets. You don't have to do the main story if you don't want to,
Mm.
but the main story is just collecting artifacts, seeing what they mean, and so on and so forth. You can also join. You can join the UC if you want. You can join the Freestar Rangers if you want, and they don't conflict with each other, which is kind of cool. So you can join all of them and not have it like interrupt your main story
Oh, okay.
experience. There are two other factions not mentioned in this timeline because they're not governing. They're just factions that exist. There's one called Ryujin Industries where they're like basically the thieves. They're the same as like the Thieves Guild in Skyrim. For those of you that have played, where they're the equivalent of it in this game is they're like a big tech company,
Mm.
and you have to do like sneaky stuff, like stealth stuff. So they're like, our competitor wants to release this product that we're going to release, so put a virus on their computer and like come in undetected and leave. So you do shit like that with Ryujin. And then the other one is the Crimson Fleet,
Mm.
who are space pirates.
Oh.
So that I thought, so I have not done the UC and the Freestar quest lines because I like chaos. So I was like, I don't want to help people, so I like joined the Crimson Fleet, and I thought that I did both Crimson Fleet and Ryujin, and I thought Crimson Fleet was really cool. The people in the Crimson Fleet are kind of dicks, so that kind of annoyed me. I was like, I wish I could fuck them up, but whatever. So those are all the factions you can join, but you can't join House of Varun. And the reason why I brought it up, there was a trailer. Oh, I guess we can exit the thing now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there. I don't have any more slides, guys. I'm all done. Oh, I'll let you touch it. It's your computer.
Oh no, you can too. There we
um.
go. Big screen. Now we can
So.
watch ourselves.
Uh, anyway, so this trailer came out very recently for the DLC. It's called Shattered Space, and in this trailer they talk about House Varun like
Mm.
a bit more extensively, and it almost sounds like, maybe it's just me being hopeful, it sounds like you'll be able to interact with them, maybe find where they are, because uh their territory, like nobody knows where it is. Like they
Mm.
know the, I think the planet is called like Varun Kai, but they don't know what system it's on. They don't know like where it is. Is it in this galaxy? Is it somewhere else? Like, so I don't know if they'll allow us to actually join them or just have like missions related to them. So I think that could be super cool. Just because there's a lot of mystery around. They're like the
Right.
boogeyman, right? They're like these like super religious, crazy people. But yeah, that's the whole universe that they made. It's very interesting. The game in itself, for context, I have like about 100 hours in the game. I played it a lot. I liked it in the beginning. I then got a bit frustrated because it started to get buggy for me. So like I think it was about 80 hours in. I mean, it would freeze during combat. It would just, I don't know. And it's really frustrating because like I'd be walking and then all of a sudden I just like freeze and I'm like,
Nice.
okay, and then keep going. Like, or if I'm shooting and it stops mid shot. I even had it once where it stopped during the shot and then it's like and it was
Uh,
just stuck. It's like,
I've
oh my
had that
god.
happen in Fortnite.
Yeah, and it's super frustrating. So I hope, and I've tried like updating my drivers and checking all that stuff. I play other AAA games and I don't have problems, so it makes me think it's something to do with Starfield itself. um, I also think it's very weird that the loading screen, there's like a ton of loading screens, and the loading screen is just a black screen with a little circle on the bottom right. So I'm like, oh, gotta do this thing. Oh, loading screen.
Oh.
Oh, and then I want to go, oh, loading screen. I'm like, it doesn't feel as immersive. Like Skyrim, I'd be like, oh, let me go in this cave and then disappear for like 6 hours. Whereas like here, I don't know. I just felt like, you guys can let me know in the comments if anyone has played, what your thoughts are. I feel like it has the ability to be a really cool game. I think they just kind of fell short on a couple things, but the DLC, also, well, the mod stuff is already out, but they put out some new content. One of the things being mods.
Mm.
So now mods are available on the game, um, but they also added paid mods, which I was like, whoa,
Mm.
like why would you do that? One of the new content things was the Tracker Alliance. They're like a bounty hunters guild thing. So you do your first like big bounty, and then I guess you could pay for another one. It's called the Vulture, but apparently, because I looked it up, I was like, if I'm gonna pay $7, I want to make sure it's worth my
Right.
money. And people were saying it's kind of disappointing. That's like one mission is $7. Yeah, it's, I'm like, that's not
Damn.
worth it. Like, what the
No.
hell? And the other bounties, because I did that first big bounty, which was like a whole mission, so that
Mm.
was, it was interesting. But the other bounties are just like on a mission board. You go, like one of them was a ship, a Crimson Fleet pirate ship.
Mm.
I jump to the star system. The ship's there. I shoot it down. It's like, oh, got my money. And I was like, all right. Took 2 minutes. I'm like, this isn't fun. I'm not having fun. Like this. So I
Mm.
don't know. I hope. I think there's been a lot of negative backlash over that. So I don't. I think I'm hoping they change their minds about it because the game was expensive too.
Yeah,
Like I think it
didn't you
was,
pay like
I paid $100.
yeah.
I just want to clarify. I bought the premium Constellation Edition. I was very excited. I still think it was really cool. Like I got early access, so I enjoyed my early access. And I think I don't have to pay for the DLC. I think.
Hopefully.
I don't think. Yeah, I think I won't have to. Um, but yeah, I think it just it's a little. It makes me sad that they they did that. I was like, oh, I gave you so much money and you hurt me. So, but maybe they can do like was it Cyberpunk? Was that the one where when it came out it was
Yeah, it
like
was.
whack as hell?
Yeah.
Mhm. So,
Hmm.
I don't want to say I don't I don't think it was as bad as that because it was still playable in the beginning.
Hmm.
Um Whereas Cyberpunk I think was almost like unplayable for people.
Yeah, a lot of
So,
people were saying
yeah,
that.
yeah. So it wasn't like that. Although maybe it was because I have a good gaming setup.
Mm.
So maybe the people with like not the newest graphics, maybe they didn't. I don't know. So yeah, I'm hoping they can maybe turn things around. Um, because it again like it sounded cool as hell because I was like damn this is like Skyrim in space. I can like go to a planet and find some random shit, which would happen sometimes. Like there's a cool side quest, I think I told you about it, where like you land on this planet and there's like old world leaders like FDR and
Oh
Amelia
yeah, you
Earhart
told
and
me.
like
Yeah.
Genghis Khan is like fighting alien spiders with the gun. I was like what the. So they that was cool. That's like
Mm.
what I came to see. So I don't know. I hope it gets better, but yeah, that's my long-winded. Sorry, I went for a while there. I really want the game to be good. Like I just
Hopefully it will.
yeah, because it is cool. Like I think the main story. I've heard mixed things about it, so I finished the main story. I was kind of like, oh, okay, at the end. Um, I think it's hard to make a sci-fi game. It definitely went a weird it went a direction I didn't expect it to, which I was like, "Oh, all right then." Um so I don't know. You guys let me know what you think. I have mixed feelings about the game and I struggle to verbalize them. I think it's because I also want it to be good. So like
Yeah.
it's hard for me to say like this is trash or this is the bad thing because I know they're trying, but I don't know. I don't know what's going on in Bethesda. I don't want to assume, you know. But yeah, yeah. Those are my thoughts on Starfield. Um, what'd you think? Is
Um, from what you say, like the story, like the world building seems pretty cool. Like
hmm
the from everything you said,
hmm
like how they build it up with how there's different factions and
hmm
like all that. That's
yeah,
cool.
your options to join.
Yeah,
hmm
except the one that's that serpent one.
Yeah, you can't join House Faroon.
Yeah.
And one thing I will say, this did bother me now that you brought it up. Constellation is a bunch of goody two shoes. Like you can have companions,
Mm.
and all of them judge you if you like accidentally kill some, or they're like, oh, like I want more of a chaotic playthrough
Mm.
sometimes, where like the ability to kind of straddle that line, like because people play these games, they build these characters, right? Like
Mm.
some because like my character was like a bounty hunter from a gritty town, so like she kind of she's got like a scar on her eye, like she kind of she's seen some shit,
Mm.
so like she tries to do well, but you know everybody slips up. Like I wanted to do something like that, but I got so irritated with the NPCs following me, judging me, that I was like, you know what, I just want to travel alone. Like I don't even want I traveled with the robot for a while because there's a robot you can travel with,
Oh, nice.
but he was big and clunky. So I was like, there
Oh,
was one time I was trying to run away and he like stood in the way and I was like, move. So
damn.
that's one thing. I wish there was more of a spectrum. Like if you want to do like a super evil pirate playthrough and just like n- like murk everyone, you could.
Right.
It's mostly just like the constellation. They're all like goody two shoes.
Mm.
So it's kind of lame in my opinion. So yeah, but who
Overall, it
knows?
seems like they dropped the ball on this.
Yeah, there was a lot of backlash when the game came out. I do remember that. I was defending it for a while because it was
Yeah,
working.
you were the only one. Everyone else I heard from online was all like, "This game sucks ass," and you were the only one who was like, "Yeah, this is great." I was
It's
like,
because I
"Huh."
paid $100 and I was like, this is great. It was heavy copium, but it did work well for me in the beginning.
Mm,
And there were things that I liked, like you can actually build bases on
mm.
planets. So like you can mine like iron ore and copper ore. So I
Oh,
would like
Brian would love that.
yeah, like you could build a whole base and like do research and shit. So
Mm,
that's pretty cool. Like you can get caught up in that. My one friend, he loved shipbuilding, so you
mm.
can build your
Oh,
spaceship
that's
and
cool.
yeah, but his comment was he wishes there was more flexibility with the shipbuilding. There were things
Mm.
he wanted to do he couldn't do. So we'll see. And stealth is broken. Stealth is so bad in that game. When I did the Ryujin playthrough, I almost rage quit. I had to do quick saves all the time because like
Oh,
they would
I would have
detect
just quit.
me. They would detect me even though I wasn't moving or whatever. It was just like,
Mm-mm.
what the hell is this? So,
Yeah, no,
yeah,
I would have been like, "Bye."
yeah. So yeah, I was the only one. I know that. But I do still believe that like the idea is a good
No, the
idea.
idea is great. It's
Yeah,
just they fumbled it.
they just didn't execute it
Yeah.
as well as they could have. But yeah, I mean, let me know in the comments what faction would you join. Are you also House Faroon like me, or
Serpent.
Serpents for life, baby? Um, yeah, I wanted to also follow up because I'm gonna bring this up every episode about 21 Pilots. Um, they
20.
s- they still have not released that music video, and going on their subreddit, basically someone found, what did they find? They found that there is an unlisted video on 21 Pilots YouTube channel. So they're
Ooh.
like, oh, we gotta find the URL. It must be that they listed, but we have to find it. So now, no joke, if you go on the subreddit, I think one of the first posts you'll find, there was some like booklet thing you could buy for $5 with the album with a bunch of pictures, like over 100 pictures,
Mm-hmm.
and they're trying to like piece them together. Yeah. No, it's crazy. It's crazy. But it could be, I don't know. I don't know. I'm like, y'all do you?
That would be wild.
It would be wild. Because they're like, it's some puzzle. We're missing something. They're not telling us something. So, um, we'll see if they crack the code. I pulled it up and it it was like buffering for a really long time because there's all this. It did look like that Charlie Day meme. Um, it was kind of crazy, but yeah, that's the update on I have on that. Still no music video, but maybe they'll put it out. Maybe they won't. Maybe people will crack the code. I don't know.
Nice.
Who knows? Um, and we also got some good feedback on the last video.
Yes.
I'll let Vicky take the lead on
So
that.
I'm here to say
Don't
no,
don't you dare.
no, there was a lovely comment that wasn't like um
It was constructive.
constructive, which is thank
Mm-hmm.
you. We always welcome constructive for future and past ones. You
Yep.
see something that you're like, that's not correct, or I know the
Mm-hmm.
correct, or like I have the source, not like, trust me, bro, it's me.
Yeah.
If you have the sources and stuff, correct us, cause apparently,
We're human too. I
yeah,
mean, and it's hard when there's so much information
information
out
and
there.
sources out there. Cause
Yeah.
I went on a few sources, and apparently, I need to do better with that, which I'm going forward I will. Like debuted on June 13, 2013, not 2010, but I believe I had written 20. I might have misspoken because I think I said they were formed in 2010, but
Mm-hmm.
you know, um,
It could be nerves too. Because
yeah,
when I'm nervous, I'll say the wrong
mm,
thing. Like I'll say the wrong date or something. Like as we were going through this, I totally forgot that how I didn't forget the House Varun stuff. As I was talking, I was like, I think I should mention House
yeah,
Varun at some point, but why? I didn't see it on my notes, which was my crutch, right? But I
mm,
was just like, shit. So I just had to check. I was like, oh. My bad, y'all. So,
Yeah, they wrote a lot, and I want to go. I don't know. Do I go over everything or just if some?
whatever you want to. The only thing I want to mention that I remember
Yeah, go for
uh,
it.
was the thing I found very interesting was them talking about Army and how Army is not just a bunch of like infatuated teens, although they may have some.
Mm,
Every group does. It's mostly the Army defends BTS so much because BTS they don't really treat their fans like idiots.
mm,
And BTS has also been treated poorly in the industry, so the fans defend them, and BTS is like not afraid to speak up on like political and societal
mm.
issues, which is something that the fans appreciate. So I liked that. I liked that they mentioned that. I thought it
Yeah,
was
that was
very
good.
interesting. I was like, oh, I didn't know that. And that the fans are from all variety of walks of life,
Yes.
like 20s, 30s, even
Mm,
older. I think the commenter said they were 59.
yep.
So it was like, wow, it's just interesting. It's interesting how a band can bring people from so many different walks of life
Mm.
together. I think that's a beautiful thing. So I wanted to mention that. We don't have to. We can go over if there's a highlight for you. Um,
Uh, Mandatory military service is 18 months, not 2 years. I want so
okay,
a year and a half.
year and a half.
Um,
Weird. It's so like specific.
yeah, that is
I wonder
very.
why 18 months.
But they if for anybody who's interested under the YouTube video, they wrote a lot. There's a lot to go on. The main thing is the army thing and military and the debut, and they did talk about how K-pop, or was it?
It's an industry or a industry, right? Not a
Uh,
genre, or it's a genre, not an
is not a
industry.
genre but an industry.
Sorry, it's not a genre. It's an industry. Misinformation again. Yeah.
And K-pop artists are solos, duos, and groups, both vocal and playing instruments in a band. And so yeah, they wrote, and thank you so much for the commenters. I really appreciate like how, like I said again, that it wasn't like, oh, you guys suck, like blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
You were like, oh, here's all this, hopefully this helped, and it did. Thank you so much. And like I said, going forward, anyone else, you know, if you found something in other videos or moving forward, say something, you
Yeah.
know.
We want interaction. Like we want to hear feedback from people. Otherwise, we don't know what we don't know,
Yeah,
right? Like
yeah.
I could have just made all this shit up about Starfield.
Mm-hmm.
I
Because
didn't, but like I could have. you
because
know?
sources can be wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you know.
I tried to go I used for reference, I used the wiki. There's a Starfield wiki for the House Varun information, and then the timeline I found, I think it's an official timeline, and then I used a variety of articles, just cross-checking to make sure they all said the same thing. Because another thing with the internet now too is I feel like there's a lot of sensationalized journalism where
Yep.
people say crazy stuff. I actually had to go back and forth about the House Faroon thing because someone said they were a governing body and someone else said they were a faction. And I was like, well, what are they?
Mm.
And then I found the wiki and it was like, no, they are a governing body. I was like, okay, cool. But again, it took some time. I was like,
Yeah.
huh, well, they're saying this, they're saying that. And it's really like anyone can make a website and just host it. Like,
Yep.
there's no rules. The internet is kind of a lawless land. Where anything goes. So, um, yeah, you know, that's all I had to say about that. I have nothing else to say at this time. I
Yeah.
hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I think next week we're gonna go probably stay on the gaming theme.
Mm.
Maybe we can do like we're planning on taking turns on
Mm.
presenting, just to alternate so it's not as much stress on
Yeah.
one of us or the other because it does take time to research.
Yep.
I spent several hours researching this and
Especially when we're both working, we're gonna start both working again.
yeah,
That's gonna be,
yeah, it's gonna add more
yeah.
for us. So, and then we might do like music and then gaming,
Mm.
music and gaming. But I don't know if we'll stick with that. You know, sometimes maybe a music will be a two-parter if it's a lot, or gaming can be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we can always expand on that. So I think next week. I don't know what we're gonna discuss just yet. I don't know if you want to do the Mario thing or if you want to do some other gaming or whatever. I don't know.
Oh, we'll discuss it after.
Yeah, we can figure it out. But as always, too, if you have ideas or suggestions, let us know.
Yeah.
Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share, do all the
Rate us five
things.
star on Apple and Spotify.
Why can't I get it on the screen? I kept going this way.
5 star, 10
Yeah,
stars.
yeah. And we hope you guys enjoy the rest of your week, and we'll see you next time.
Yep. Bye bye. See you. Oh my god, again.